This video is where to stretch and roll, and we'll be including links to how to stretch and roll below. Soccer players, I want to show you the best post-workout stretching and foam rolling routine. We're going to start with stretching your feet in here. So what I'm going to do is have you get in this kind of kneeling position here and put all your weight back like this onto your feet. You can stretch your quadriceps and your feet at the same time where you kind of lean back like this. I like to rock back and forth to make sure I'm stretching all the flexors, the deep flexors of the foot, as well as get a little bit of quad in there. Also, when you're done, you lay, kind of sit on your feet like that. You don't want them to turn out too far. If you have a lot of ankle inflexibility, this will be really difficult for you. So again, kind of leaning back onto that. For some people who are super flexible, you can grab your toes and pull up this way. Additionally, I would have you stretch your calf. This is one way to do it. My favorite is actually finding a curb or a stair and holding onto something and putting all your body weight on one at a time so that you're getting as much stretch as possible in each calf one at a time. So next you would stretch internal and external rotators. So in your hip you would rock back like this and just get a little stretch like that, as well as stretching your quadriceps, so leaning down in this position. And then you can stretch glute on this side, so your left glute here, by sitting in good posture, rocking forward like that. And then you would just switch and do the same on the opposite side. So again, quadriceps, and then leaning back, stretching the internal rotators, or the rotators of your hip, and then making sure you're stretching glute just like that. So next is a lunge stretch. So get you in as deep a lunge, or basically the splits, as you can. This back leg needs to be turned out so that your hips are square. So right here I'm stretching the front of my hip, so pushing hips forward just like that. When that feels nice and stretched, you would stretch your hamstring here, where you basically butt out, chest up, and push your hips back to feel the hamstring there. Once that feels stretched, then you get adductors by just going into the splits this way. So you can turn a little bit just like this. That'll help to make sure you get everything. Then just turn the other way and do the same, where you're pushing hips forward to get your hip flexors, and then you get your hamstrings. And that's it. You can roughly run through it that quickly and just self-assess yourself to see, is anything tight? And usually after a workout, something's going to be tight. So once you find something's tight, you just spend a little bit more time on that. But usually, if it just feels normal, then you can move on and go to the next exercise. In the rolling part of your self-treatment, what you want to start with is your plantar fascia, where you start in a standing position. You can do it seated, but it's best in standing, so just roll back and forth like this. After you've rolled your plantar fascia, you want to move on to the Achilles and calf and soleus, or gastroc and soleus. You want to put as much body weight as you can tolerate. So you want to lift your hips off and move very slowly, working all the way from the very base at the back of your heel all the way to the back of the knee, making sure that you get the inside as well as outside. Additionally, you want to roll your iliotibial band, the lateral quad here. So you would get in a side plank position just like this, and you have to work fairly posterior here because the muscle runs all the way back here. It's not just on the side here. So you've got to roll just like this all the way from the knee to your hip. So in this particular instance, I'm referring to the hip as the greater trochanter. There's a bone on the side here that sticks out. Then there's your iliac crest, this kind of thing that runs through here. So you only have to roll to here, so from your knee to here, because once you get above that, you're going to use a ball in that upper part there. So quad would just be like this, rolling all through that area. I'm going way too fast, but the how video is linked below. You can use more intense rollers. That PVC pipe is the most intense you would use. If you can tolerate that, you will get better results by using that. Once you get higher up, then you can still use a tennis ball or something like it If it's too intense, if you can tolerate that, then move on to something harder that you're going to get a little bit more results from. So I would get into your piriformis, which is right in the center of your glute. Then once you've done that, and you can do some of the active release technique, or at least do the best you can with that, you can move on to glute medius, which is, if you put your hand on your hip like this, it's where your thumb hits there. So if your piriformis is here, and that bone in your hip on the side is there, and that iliac crest is here, it's right below that. So when you put your hand like that, your thumb is right on that spot. So with the ball right there, just like this leg straight, right on that spot, it should hurt pretty intensely when you do that. For rolling, that's probably all that's needed through the hip. If you hit all of those spots, you'll be feeling a lot better after each workout.